What is up, Spartans? Batman from TST Gaming here to keep you updated with everything Halo. And today we are talking about the Halo Infinite campaign reveal. But before we get started, please subscribe for more Halo content. So with today's reveal, it begins by giving us some story beats, including the details of the very first mission, which is when we get to Zeta Halo, we have to go get something called the weapon, which we know to be Cortana 2.0. And while they show off some gameplay, some of the things that stuck out the most to me was the fact that Cortana 1.0 is now purple, which is an interesting choice. And most likely it's to contrast with the blue Cortana 2.0 that we have now, as well as it's a nice throwback to her original Halo 1 color scheme. Now, some of the features we did get a look at here was the fact that it looked like Master Chief being on one of the bases and requesting a UNSC vehicle of his choosing. One other thing I thought was nice about that was you could hear the voice of the pilot. Now, one thing I thought was interesting about the story is that Cortana 2.0, aka the weapon, does not know what Cortana 1.0 did. And so I thought that was really interesting that they wouldn't fill her in with all the information. I'm sure there's a reason, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm wondering if they're going to somehow have to merge the two Cortanas in order to create like an Ultra Cortana that's actually good, has the same level of intellect and knowledge that the original Cortana had. Now, it does appear that this is going to be one of the biggest campaigns we've ever had in terms of scope and size. It won't be very linear as we've expected over the years, but rather it'll be more open world where you select missions as you approach them, or even side missions. We did get to see Master Chief using the thruster pack, which is an equipment making its way back from Halo 5, going from something you can use all the time to something you can use in very limited amounts of time. We get to see more of the brute strongholds and what they kind of look like inside, at least some of them. As well as we got to see some boss fights, a couple of them, and they listed a couple leaders. Now, one thing I noticed with the bosses, it looks like they have a shield and a health bar above their heads, so it'd be very interesting. I'm really glad to see that we're getting some boss fights again. That was one of the favorite things I loved about fighting Tartarus, for example, in Halo 2. But I didn't really like fighting Warden Eternal in Halo 5, because I felt like you killed him and then he was always back. And of course, there was a logistical story reason why he could keep coming back. But he was a pain in the butt to fight. But hopefully these ones are going to be more fun. I think with the different spaces that it looks like we'll be fighting them in, it'll be different styles. You have different, the shape of the rooms. In one of the boss fights, it looks like he had, Master Chief has the fusion coils available to him. So it'll be very interesting to see how each boss fight plays differently to each other and how important they are. Is it part of side quests? Is it part of the main quest? A little bit of both, perhaps. I'm assuming we're going to get some of the main quests, but how many versus the side quests will be very interesting. They also show us our TAC map, which goes ahead and shows us an overhead view, similar to Halo 3 ODST's days, and it shows the map and some objectives that are nearby. As well as if you're looking at that picture, two things that stick out to me about that picture outside of how great it looks is there's a fast travel option. So I'm assuming we're going to be able to fast travel to places we've been before, as well as there's area collectibles. I'm also assuming some terminals will be making their way back, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how easy it is to get some of these collectibles versus not, and if there's going to be achievements related to it, which I would assume there are. Another thing, it looks like we're going to be able to upgrade Master Chief's armor, more specifically the equipment that he uses. It looks like he'll be using something called Spartan cores in order to unlock. For example, the one we got to see in action here was the thruster being upgraded to Escape Velocity, which costs 3 Spartan cores. Escape Velocity, which adds a personal cloak effect to thruster lasting 4 seconds after activation. Now, it's unclear if any of these upgrades will be able to make their way into multiplayer. My guess is no, simply to keep it balanced, but it will definitely make for some great campaign gameplay. We do see that tanks can now take down dropships again. We get to see Craig make his return from his E3 debut last year. We also have a new enemy in the form of skimmers. They remind me of flying monkeys, so it'll be very interesting to see how we will be fighting against them. We have a Spartan killer named Jega or Domni, and that is an elite who looks like wields 2 swords. And we see someone who calls himself the Harbinger of the Truth. It's unclear, but there are definitely some speculations out there as to what this could be. One other thing I want to note about the graphics in here is that the 1-year delay really gave him that time to truly polish it and look like Halo. I mean, Master Chief's armor I don't think has ever looked better. I'm not a big fan of the 117 part, but his armor overall, the color that he had initially a year ago, I was not a fan of. But now that they've updated it and he's got battle damage and it looks like it's been through hell. And that, it would make sense, especially with the lore being that. But every aspect of this game looks better than it did last year's E3. Like, it's night and day. The 1 year delay, I'm all for. If it's going to look like this, it looks like all the things are coming together. I know a lot of people were worried about campaign because they hadn't showed it off since E3 of this year. And all I've heard is good stuff, that people, or reactions have been almost all super positive, saying they can't wait, looks amazing. I think it's going to be one of the top most played, I think it's going to be one of the most played games, not just in multiplayer, but in campaign as well. The campaign looks great. I'm really surprised they haven't been pushing campaign more, considering that multiplayer is free and the campaign is really what you'd be paying for, or if you have Game Pass, you don't have to pay for it. So I thought that they'd be pushing the campaign more. But the thing I love about this campaign overview the most is the fact that they show you just enough without spoiling too much. It's just enough to whet your appetite, leave you for wanting more, which is exactly what you want when you're hyping a game. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait until December 8th. And that's all we have for today. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching TST Gaming, and until next time, just play.
Is everyone trying to kill you?
It kinda seems like it.